Subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss an update from Firstpost.
Hi everyone, this is Sheena Oberoi, and today we at Firstpost are in conversation with director Richie Mehta and Shefali Shah. Welcome to Firstpost.
Thank you.
And we're here today talking about your new Netflix series, which is Delhi Crime.
साइड लगा क्या हुआ?
What happened?
If we go back into time and think about what actually happened, it was so sad and so tragic. And it made headlines all over the world. And now that we see that there's a series which you've created for Netflix, so we would want to know how difficult was it for you as a director to direct it, and secondly for you as an actor to be a part of it. We'll start with you, Richie.
If you're going to rate difficulty from 1 to 10, this was about 75. I guess it's a challenge, certainly unlike anything I've ever done. It was a process of evolution to arrive at this, long research and writing process.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have grasped how big this would have been.
Okay.
And how many people would be involved, the scale of it, nor necessarily what I was taking on. At each stage, I would evaluate: is this worth doing? Is this worth doing? As I get more information and a greater understanding of it, and then arriving at a decision of, okay, I'm going to go through this now and direct it. You can't understand what that actually means.
Yeah.
If you did, you wouldn't do it. No way would you take on something like this. But it's basically like a 7-hour film, essentially.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with obviously very big themes and very intense tone.
Yeah.
A great deal of sensitivity.
Yeah.
And so it's it's beyond full time. It's 18 to 20 hours a day for 6 years.
Oh, that's a lot of time, because it takes too much time to first. So in series, it's basically first establishing the character and then going ahead with whatever. And how difficult was it for you to actually play such a strong role, in the series?
This incident by itself is difficult to revisit for any one of us.
For anyone.
And I mean, I can't even emotionally, or not so much physically, but emotionally, and the technical information and all of it, there's so much. I mean, the list is endless. But I think it was a little simpler for me, not little, much simpler for me than it was for Rishi, because he started it from scratch, while I had what he had worked on, all the research, I mean, everything he put into it, I had that as my backup. So it was definitely easier for me than him. But otherwise, emotionally,
It's not relative. It's not a comparison.
I'm not
They're
comparing.
They're separate. No, the reason for it is because it's one thing for me to research and write it, put it together and direct it. It's another thing to depict it, and to the certain scenes which required, whether it's jumps in energy or a change in tone, or really kind of reaching inside you to communicate the horror or sorrow you're feeling, or the anger you're feeling. For me, at that stage, I can just watch. But in a pressured environment, she's got to depict that, and that's. I mean, I certainly can't relate to it, so it's not relative. The difficulty is not relative. What you were doing compared to what you do. Bus.
Rishi, I think a lot of people would want to know that the approach that you've taken in this series is it's an investigation side approach.
Yes.
It's the police officer's approach of reaching it. How did you get that inspiration? Because generally, if we think of some incident, we would probably think that you'll make a story, from, say, the parent side or that side. But this is the completely opposite side. And I'd also like to say, watching the 4 episodes, that watching that as a 22-year-old, I felt that, I feel more confident about my system, legal system. I feel that, I always used to think that it's just out there and nobody's caring about it, it's just media talking about it. But now I actually feel that what goes behind the scenes is a lot. So where did your inspiration come from to show that side of the story?
It came from a family friend of mine who was with the Delhi police, and I got great insights about how that all works and how much people are really trying to make the system work and to get justice. And in an incident like this, as I got to know some of these people, got to read the material, which generally is all in public domain, but got to know the people and got to see the challenges they face and how hard they were trying. And in this particular case, really, I mean, especially, you know, the leads that we showed, the characters that we created, you know, the special task force officers, those kinds of, they really tried. And then you see their impediments on a day-to-day basis, and you start to understand, wait a sec, I took this for granted.
Yeah.
I just assume, I make the assumption that they just don't care.
That's what.
But that's not
what
the case.
all of us make the assumption.
And that is not the case at all. So they, in fact, they care, and if, you know, if the challenges are so great, we can all relate to, at some point, saying, bas ho gaya. But in certain cases, they say, no, not this time. And in the case of this case, it became personal, and they did it, and I was so impressed by that for me, it became a way in. But also, these are people who deal with this kind of thing, not of this scale, not of this intensity, but this kind of thing all the time. So to take that perspective of, I think it's worth exploring the psyche of the people who deal with this evil every day.
There is nothing we could have done.
Everyone in the city is wrong.
एक माँ से एक माँ की रिक्वेस्ट प्रॉमिस कीजिए मुझे उन सबको सिर्फ फांसी ही होगी
I promise.
I think at a personal level, I'd like to thank you for reinstilling the faith in the system and letting us know that there is something which is definitely happening. Shefali, I want to ask from you that what was the mindset or the mental space, or how did you mentally prepare for this kind of a strong role that you're portraying?
Because it's a true life investigation, there is a certain amount of precision required for it.
Yeah.
Not certain, a lot of precision required for it, which comes from research, which he's done. He already had it on paper. And I had the privilege of meeting the DCP.
Yeah.
And then I just had to put together what became like a combination of three people. My instinct, my emotion, my impulse to it. So this is not something I could have done alone. And
You didn't.
I did.
It was a team. I mean, it was all, we were all, but again, there was so much on her shoulders.
I am DCP South District.
जी मैडम
This crime is not just heinous. It's insanity.
I want to know from you and from you as well, from the actor's point of view and the director's point of view, if there is any certain shot or if there is any moment during this series that you've taken away for your personal life, that you feel that will remain for you forever.
Oh my gosh, the whole thing. I've internalized 6 years on this. I've internalized every moment, every frame, every line, every word. Again, because this is a fictionalized, dramatic account.
Yeah.
It's basically made up of research, understanding of the public domain, and my observations and I suppose feelings and thoughts. So they're all merged. So I don't think most people would necessarily be able to tell the difference between what is referenced to real and what I've brought in.
Yeah.
It's kind of merged.
Yeah.
But I certainly know. And every part of it has become a part of me. You know, and there's a type of metamorphosis that's certainly happened inside me.
And what about you?
This is not a show or a story that can leave you unaffected.
Yeah.
Secondly, I did not know this side of the case.
Yeah.
You know, in 2012.
Yeah.
So until he came to me with the script, I just had anger and pain and frustration and just humiliation for what a woman went through. But when he showed me this side of it, I was like, you know what, there is a woman whose life was lost, but there is another woman who stood up and fought for it.
Yeah.
And not just fought for her, she
Very
fought for
strong.
everyone.
Yeah.
So it was also a sense of, I mean, that you cannot take away from the sense of loss
Yeah.
of what happened. But there was a certain amount of, I mean, there's somebody who worked at getting justice
True.
done, of getting those guys.
Yeah.
You know, so it is empowering. It is, it feels,
For sure.
and like you said right in the beginning, you feel a little safer.
You know, there's and I know one of the biggest takeaways for me is, as much evil as there is in the world, especially with acts like this,
Yeah.
the good actually completely overshadows it. It does.
Thank you so much for talking to us at Firstpost, and all the best for this new Netflix series. And we hope that you're able to inspire a lot of people through this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena.
News18.com brings you Real Movies Awards 2019. Vote for your favorite stars. Log on to news18.com/vote and win exciting prizes. Vote now. News18.com Real Movies Awards 2019.